This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening everyone and welcome to Southern Cross News. A judge has slammed a young driver's actions which cost a 15-year-old girl her life, saying he was stupid, reckless and selfish. Today, J.J. Sward was sentenced to a minimum of 1 year and 9 months jail for the fatal crash at Old Beach last year. The court hearing the learner driver had been drinking for 15 hours in the lead up to the crash.
A family's devastation. Forever they'll be feeling the shockwaves of a cruel and heartbreaking incident.
It's been a challenging 15 months for the family and friends of Brianna. We always knew today that no sentence handed down would compensate for the life of Brianna or ease the pain in any way.
This is their loss. A girl just 15 years old, Brianna Wannington. She had her whole life ahead of her until a crash in June last year. J.J. Sward has pleaded guilty to causing death and grievous bodily harm by dangerous driving. The judge taking that early plea into account for sentencing today. But the court heard this was a serious example of the charges. The crash here on Baskerville Road at Old Beach in June last year was preceded by 15 hours of drinking. Sward had a blood alcohol level of 0.135, hadn't slept, and as a learner driver, shouldn't have been behind the wheel. The judge saying this evening was characterised by poor choices. You put those passengers at risk, but also I acknowledge that you are aware of the damage you have done.
On behalf of Brianna, her family and friends, we plead to everyone to learn from this tragedy. Do not drink while under the influence of drugs or alcohol and speeding.
Justice Geeson said Sward is fundamentally a person of good character and made full admissions, but his decisions were stupid, reckless and selfish. Sward today handed 3.5 years in jail with a non-parole period of 1 year, 9 months. He'll also be disqualified from driving upon his release for 3.5 years. Immediately after the sentence was handed down and Sward was being led back into custody, the victim's mother yelled out, "It should have been you and not my daughter."
The mental and emotional impact that it has losing a child is something no parent should have to experience. The loss of Brianna hasn't only affected Tracy, but her siblings, her family and friends.
This family left to deal with the pain. A young man now locked in jail, all because of a stupid night. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
A man has pleaded not guilty to manslaughter over the death of a 7-year-old boy. Joshua George Hector Clark appeared in the Hobart Magistrates Court by video link from Victoria. He's been charged over felling a tree that landed on a vehicle at Mount Lloyd in 2015, allegedly killing the child. Due to the seriousness of the charge, the matter has been committed to the Supreme Court in February. Outrage and concern has erupted over harsh new guidelines restricting media reporting inside Tasmania's Parliament House. The Speaker says she is re-examining the new rules following the backlash. But a long list of critics say it makes it difficult for media like us to bring you the stories you need and keep our politicians accountable.
The often unruly debate that is Question Time could soon be censored under tough new media reporting rules. The guidelines place heavy restrictions on what can and can't be reported from within Hobart's Parliament House.
Any restriction on the Tasmanian media to report about what's going on in the Tasmanian Parliament is a restriction on the Tasmanian public's right to know what their elected representatives are doing day to day.
The guidelines say journalists cannot linger in the corridors to talk to politicians, and they can't print photos of unparliamentary behaviour. Also, that photos can only be taken in the first 10 minutes of the hour-long question time, and politicians' reactions can't be filmed.
The most important question might be the last question of Question Time, and how the Premier of the day or how any of the ministers of the day react to that question is very important to be captured by the Tasmanian print media.
The Speaker said the new rules were consistent with guidelines across Australia, but they would be reassessed.
We are looking into it, so I give you and the media the assurance that we are trying to make them best practice.
Opposition politicians not impressed, saying they, along with media outlets, were never consulted.
I find it strange that these seemingly heavy-handed guidelines have been brought in with very little consultation. But I was heartened to hear the Speaker say this morning in question time that it is a work in progress.
The Parliament belongs to the people of Tasmania. It's important that we have a free press reporting on Parliament. It's really important that members of Parliament know they're there to serve the people of Tasmania.
I have never felt threatened by journalists approaching me in the corridors of Parliament or anywhere else.
Michelle WISBEY, Southern Cross News.
Ambulance response times have improved across the state in the last year, despite an increase in demand. The government today revealed it now takes an average of 12.8 minutes for an ambulance to arrive on the scene after it's been called, down by 1 minute from the year before. This drop came despite a 6.5% increase in call-outs, with patient satisfaction rates remaining high. Details have today emerged in Parliament that potentially dangerous knives have been found in Tasmanian mental health wards, and that some staff were not equipped with safety alarms. Staff say knives were found in the possession of patients or in their belongings, leading them to write to the Health Minister weeks ago to raise safety concerns. Labor says more precautions were needed to ensure patient and staff safety was not at risk.
They could look at metal detectors, they could look at other options to ensure that staff can be assured that their workplace is safe, that other patients can be assured that they are safe in these facilities.
I, of course, will always take seriously any further allegations, but the government does care. We are investing, and we're a government that always wants to do better with mental health.
The Health Department said similar items were sometimes located and confiscated in line with security procedures, and that new safety alarms had been purchased. A 29-year-old Ravenswood man is lucky to be alive tonight after the car he was driving collided with a log truck at White Hills this morning. Police have praised the log truck driver for rushing to help the other motorist as his car caught fire.
The Blessington Road scene far less serious than what it could have been.
We're very lucky actually that this isn't a fatal and a very serious crash.
Gouge marks were evident in the road from the weight of the initial impact. The side of the Commodore ripped open.
Basically a vehicle has travelled onto the wrong side of the road, travelled a little bit wide and has clipped a truck travelling down the hill.
The truck driver miraculously managed to prevent the 40-tonne truck from rolling as it slid down the hill.
No steering at all. It's just a matter of riding the ride out, hitting the brakes as hard as you could and hoping for the best. And we stopped, that's where we stopped, down there.
Kim then rushed back up the road to assist the driver whose car had caught fire. Those at the scene praised his efforts and the fact the truck was fitted with a safety bumper guard.
The truck's actually fitted with a very low bumper bar and bull bar, which is designed to deflect vehicles away from the truck.
If the bloke driving the Commodore, if we hadn't had that on the truck, he'd have gone straight in under the wheels and it'd be all over for him.
The 29-year-old Commodore driver was taken to the Launceston General Hospital and is now in a stable condition. Blessington Road was closed for around 5 hours as the scene was cleared. Jessie Gilmour, Southern Cross News.
A motor scooter rider has been taken to hospital in a serious condition after being injured in a crash on the Brooker Highway at Moona this afternoon. Police say the scooter and a car collided just before 2:20. Traffic was disrupted as emergency crews cleared the scene and investigations took place. A cause hasn't been released. Tasmania has been identified as one of the toughest states to find entry-level employment, with a new report revealing 12 job seekers are applying for every available position. The research by Anglicare Australia also found nearly 111,000 people are looking for low-skilled jobs across the country. The number of advertised entry-level jobs has halved since 2006. 10 police officers who risked their lives under gunfire at Poatina in 2014 have been honoured for their service. 4 years after the incident, officers recalled the moment they bravely tried to end a violent car chase.
Shattered glass on the road, a sign of just how close police came to harm. In February 2014, officers were hunting a man and a woman in a stolen car at Poatina, locking down nearby roads. A chase escalated with road spikes, bringing the car to a standstill. Shotgun fire then hit a police vehicle, narrowly missing officers behind the windshield. Constable Adam Forrest was in the car following and recalls the moment vividly.
Initially it was very confronting and momentarily it was quite chaotic. We were in an area where radio communications were intermittent.
Hours later, the suspects were arrested after a search. Today, 10 officers involved were honoured for their efforts.
Extremely lucky that no one was seriously hurt. And I think it was a good result. The matter was resolved on Poultini Hill and they didn't get a chance to get back into built-up areas.
They put themselves at risk. They did a fantastic job and it's great to be able to recognise what they did.
After 4 years, they're happy to receive commendation and appreciation. But more than anything, they're just grateful they were able to go home safely.
It certainly makes you think of your own families and just keeping yourself safe, keeping the public safe and returning home.
Sean McComish, Southern Cross News.
Tasmania's public education system is celebrating 150 years in the classroom. Today, young and old cut the cake on the milestone, marking Tasmania as the first state to make public education compulsory. Former students were selected to be ambassadors.
To me, school was an escape, but it was also a point where I had really supportive teachers who not only inspired me, but they also made me believe in myself, and I think that was critical for my development.
Fittingly, the ceremony was held under a 150-year-old oak tree. Football clubs on Hobart's eastern shore have launched a scathing attack on the Clarence City Council for the lack of training grounds available during pre-season. They say it's been an ongoing issue for years and Council has done nothing to fix it.
The Clarence coach says it's the same old story every summer and clubs are at breaking point.
Start calling them the Mirror Council because they're always looking into stuff but they never actually do anything about it.
Training out of Newtown High School for the past 2 years, this pre-season Clarence has been relocated to Gilston Bay Oval, along with Old Scholars Club OHA and SFL side Lindisfarne.
3 senior clubs, a women's team and an under-18s team training out of one venue on the eastern shore. It's just a disgrace. But they won't allow us to train at Clarence High, Risdon Vale, Cambridge Primary, because they have cricket pitches in the middle.
OHA coach BRODIE Langford says clubs have offered to rope off the pitches, but to no avail.
There's no other options. That's the problem we're having with the council. There's no alternative, there's no compromise. It's just no, 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 no. When I'm sending messages out at 5:30 on a training night saying, sorry, we can't train here, the council said no, then it's not a great look for our footy club. It's unorganised, it's unprofessional.
The Clarence City Council admits it is having difficulty meeting demand and is working to improve facilities at other grounds in the area, but conceded it could be another couple of years before clubs are satisfied with the outcome.
We don't want or can't afford to have people, footballers, injuring themselves or falling on concrete pitches and the like.
They've been looking into it for 3 years with no response.
Tom Cooper, Southern Cross News.
The Launceston General Hospital can now purchase a range of new medical equipment thanks to a $230,000 donation from the Give Me 5 for Kids appeal.
So the money this year is going towards resuscitation equipment in the birthing suite for our newborn babies. We're able to purchase 16 sofa beds for parents and when they're staying in the hospital with their children. We're able to buy some monitoring equipment for our really sick children that are needing extra observation.
Since 2011, almost $1.5 million has been raised for the hospital through the campaign. Earlier this month, the Royal Hobart Hospital received a $500,000 cheque to go towards equipment in the state's south. When it comes to wrapping cars, there's some serious skill involved and a whole lot of patience. One Launceston man's dedication to the job has just earned him a spot on the world stage.
For Josh Nielsen, winning the Australia and New Zealand Wrap It Like a King competition was a dream come true.
I was very shocked. Never thought I'd get as far as I did. I only really entered it as see what happens, and well, I'm going to Vegas, so there you go.
The passionate signwriter spent more than 50 hours designing and wrapping the VW Beetle, now known as Barn Find 24/7.
In the UK, they tend to just find them abandoned in paddocks, fix them up and drive them as they find them. And that was where the inspiration come from, as if I just found it in a paddock.
Taking the title over 30 others, he'll head to the US next week to be judged against entries from Asia, Europe and North America.
I think he's got a very good chance. So I think the American one, it looks nice, it looks pretty good, but I think we've just got the edge a little bit on it.
And the 30-year-old has certainly been doing his research.
I've been following the guys that I've been up against for a while. They're a lot of the guys that I get a lot of my inspiration from. So they're very competitive.
Regardless of what happens in Las Vegas to this family business, Josh is already a winner.
Absolutely proud of eating. It's just great that he's managed to achieve what he's been doing. He loves wrapping cars and that's what he loves doing, so it's great.
The global Wrap It Like a King title will be announced at the end of the month. Jessie Gilmour, Southern Cross News.
Hobart City Mission's food shelves have been filled thanks to the generosity of Tasmania's Rotary clubs. More than 1,000 items flooded in from across the state in a drive to help those facing hardship. It comes as the charity warns more people are going hungry.
It's continuing to grow, unfortunately. We're seeing more of what we call the working poor. So people who have a job but they're finding their budget squeezed and they're now really struggling to make ends meet.
We sit there and enjoy our meals and we don't think twice about our food. We go out, we pay for our meals. Some people can't even have their basic needs met.
City Mission has distributed more than 10 tonnes of food this year. Tasmanians of all ages are tonight being encouraged to give some thought to preparing for their own death and the death of loved ones. While it's often a topic many avoid, community groups are urging death to be discussed openly, encouraging everyone to get a legal will and to think about what care they want in their final days.
100% of us die, and so it's really important that we're prepared for death. And the difference between a good death and a not so good death is preparation and talking to people. You talk to your loved ones, you talk to your family.
So many people walk around thinking, oh, I don't need a will because I'm only 27, and then they have a car accident and it's like they've got little kids. Nasty. So we don't want that happening anymore.
Today's forum is the first time stakeholders from the government, industry and the legal profession have gathered together, and there are hopes it will run again next year. Let's take a look now at the day's business and finance with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. Banking and telco stocks have lifted the Australian share market to close slightly higher despite lower commodity prices weighing down the energy and materials sectors. The ASX 200 index has risen by 3.3 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 71 US cents and 80.17 Japanese yen.
After putting themselves in a dominant position in their Sheffield Shield clash against Queensland at the Gabba, Tasmania's batsmen have struggled during day 3 of play, with the Bulls' attack tearing through the Tigers' order this afternoon. A collision between creases leading to Jake Doran's dismissal on just 11, with Matthew Wade the best of the lot, knocking 51 off the Tigers' 132-run second innings total. Queensland were back to bat a short time ago, with Jackson Bird claiming the early wicket of Sam Trulloff for a duck. The Bulls trail by 310 runs with 1 day left of play.
Good evening. A fair bit of moisture over the state with showers over most areas. Mount Barrow 28 millimetres overnight, while today Mount Reid scored 21. Hobart, the state's warmest, 24 degrees. Launceston 19 today, Burnie 16 and Devonport 17. Grove and Friendly Beaches 23, St Helens 22, Flinders Island and Strawn 19, King Island 17 and Low Head 15 degrees. Now here's the thick band of middle and high level cloud moving over the state off to the east now, and you can see it's been replaced by that lower cloud spiralling around the low to our northwest. Now a second low is off the coast of WA to the south there, plenty of action there. Convective cloud along the eastern seaboard is due to a surface trough, with more extending from WA into the Territory as well. Tomorrow a cold front approaches the state while extending back over central Australia. A ridge of high pressure moves in further west. The northwesterlies will tend more northeasterly during the afternoon tomorrow before increasing to 20 to 30 knots over the west during the evening. Swells rising to 2.5 metres. Strong wind warning in the west from Low Rocky Point to Stanley. And we shape up tomorrow with a bit of a cloud over Hobart, a top of 23 degrees, getting warm for Huonville as well after early fog, 25 the top and 24 for Campania. The chance of a possible shower for Launceston, 20 the high, 17 for Devonport with a late shower, 18 for Georgetown. Burnie tomorrow, a shower or two, 16 the top, 21 for Strawn with a shower in the air and late showers for Wynyard, 17 degrees. Fine and partly cloudy in the east, St Helens 21, along with Port Arthur, 22 the top for Swansea. UV getting high there at 7. On Saturday, showers extending throughout during the morning, contracting to the west and south in the afternoon. Fine on Sunday apart from showers early over the southwest coast, and on Monday mainly fine apart from the north where morning showers will develop. A morning shower as well for Perth tomorrow, a windy day in Adelaide, a sunny 27 in Melbourne, conditions improving for Canberra and Sydney, and a possible shower or storm in Darwin. And a little bit of rain over Hobart at the moment, 15, 14 and showery in Launceston, mostly cloudy in Devonport and 14 degrees. A bit scratchy the weather for the next couple of days, Jo, but it's always like that with the cricket season starting. Fantastic.
That's all from the news team for now. Thanks for your company. We'll see you a little later with updates. Bye-bye.